first, I'd like to start off just by talking about the late Jimmy Greaves, who had just passed away. So, around a year ago, around 11, 12 months, forgive my knowledge, but we had a podcast where we were just reviewing the life of Diego Maradona when he had passed away as well. So that was something where we ended up just talking about how we never saw him play. People of our generation, we never saw him play. We didn't
Yeah.
get to see him besides watching on YouTube or on. There's a magnificent film on BT Sport. I think it's just called Greavesy, but
Mm.
it was something I was watching over the last few days when I just had some spare time. I was like, you know what, I've got to learn about this player because that's what I like to do really. Not in my spare time, but if I literally have nothing to do, I'll just like research old football players like Johan Cruyff and Beckenbauer and be like,
Mm-hmm.
now I see why people think he's one of the greatest of all time. And it started with
Yeah.
the whole Maradona situation when he passed away. So I was doing the kind of same thing with Jimmy Greaves, and the fact that this man is the fourth all-time scorer in England. He
Yeah.
was injured in the group stages of the World Cup in 1966 as well. And the fact that everyone, not just the Spurs fans or the Chelsea fans, but everyone in the country has really gone into detail of describing what a man, what a gentleman, what an incredible footballer he was, and how humble they felt to watch one of their heroes, because this was just during the times of, it was like 1957 to 1980, I believe his career spun, but he went to play for Chelsea, AC
Mm-hmm.
Milan, Tottenham, West Ham, and Barnet, I believe, as well. So
Yeah.
it's quite fun just like learning a bit more about him and learning about how he actually dealt with being like the star man and being one of the first English players to move abroad to AC Milan as well, which is
Yeah.
brilliant. But what are your first thoughts on Jimmy Greaves and obviously the sad passing away of Jimmy Greaves? And did you have any kind of memories that you learned from people in the game, whether fans or whether friends and family, perhaps MJ?
First of all, I want to say R.I.P. to Jimmy Greaves and pass on my condolences to his family. Definitely a football legend. I know I look old, but I'm not that old. So unfortunately, I've not seen him live, but I have seen little
Definitely.
clips of him.
You don't look old. It's probably the camera. It's the
Yeah,
camera.
it's the
It
camera.
does it. It does it to me as well. I look 40, but I'm definitely not 40. No,
Yeah,
no, it's
10
just,
years, isn't it?
it might be the beers that we have as well. But no, no, we're
Yeah,
not
I think it
old.
doesn't help.
We're
Nah.
definitely not old.
But yeah, no, I've seen a lot of clips of him. He's a very skillful player, good finisher, great in the box. I just think that the 1966 World Cup was just kind of how should I say, like a bad luck on his part, because he was a really good striker, England's main striker leading into the tournament, and he got injured, and Jeff Hurst took his place, and the rest is history. Jeff Hurst got a hat trick in the final, and he's the legend now, and everyone kind of remembers Jeff Hurst more than Jimmy Greaves, which is a shame because in his own right he's a great player. I think he was Spurs' all-time record goal scorer. You know, loads of caps for England. The most goals in the Division One, as it was called at the time, was 357. So, you know, in his career goals of 466, 661 appearances. So loads of games, loads of goals. I think sometimes he just gets a bit overlooked because of Jeff Hurst and what happened in the 66 final, but still a world-class player. I urge anyone, if you haven't seen much of him, go on YouTube and check his clips. His dribbling is unreal. And you have to think these are the days where the pitch is not like how it is now, where it's a carpet. You know, he had mud holes, bumps, everything. And the control that he had and the skill that he had as well was like unheard of in those days, in the late 50s and going into the 60s and 70s. Great player, great player.
Yeah, and it's just about the time when footballers were becoming superstars to the general public. They weren't normally just
Mm.
people that you see down the pub and everything. And this
Yes.
was the kind of era when you got to Bobby Moore coming through, so Bobby Charlton coming through, George
Yep.
Best coming through, Dennis Law coming through as well. And it's the fact that everyone above them. I remember watching Jeff Hurst saying that he forgot his daughter in the same shop that he was shopping at with Jimmy Greaves. So his newborn daughter, he forgot in the shop because he was so starstruck by Jimmy Greaves in the shop. He had to walk back in the store and was like, I forgot my
Jimmy
daughter.
Greaves.
This is crazy, and you couldn't imagine anyone really
I
doing
don't know
this
what's more
now.
embarrassing.
Imagine being the
No, never
daughter,
that,
and
never.
imagine being the daughter though, and you're just there like, Dad, you know, like 20 years ago, you forgot me in the shop. That must have been so awkward. Like just being remembered that for the rest of your life, which is crazy.
You know what? I'm not sure what's more awkward is like actually forgetting your daughter in the shop or being like, oh, you know what, Jimmy? Sorry, I left my daughter in the shop because I was starstruck by you. Let me just quickly go and get her. I'll be back in a minute.
I forgot her in the pram. I gotta go. I
Yeah,
gotta go. Be
yeah,
right back. I just need another autograph for you. But no,
yeah,
they
yeah.
ended up becoming teammates, which is crazy as well. So
Mhm.
it was quite good to see how, especially like if you have BT Sport and you're able to watch this film, Greaves-ish or something like that. I think
Yeah,
that's called
Greavesy, I think.
Greavesy. That was it.
Yeah.
It was just it was worth the watch. It was an absolute joy for
Mm.
me to watch it and just to really learn from it. Because like I said beforehand, I like learning about all of these old players and taking my time to really learn it because he
Likewise.
Tottenham. Tottenham's all-time goal scorer, 220 goals. Played for West Ham, played for Chelsea, hated by none of them. Played for Barnet, my old local team
Mm-hmm.
as well. So
Mm-hmm.
what, 16 goals, and it was the main thing that in that day and age, because he was literally the superstar, as we mentioned
Yep.
before, that he was also dealing with alcoholism as well. So
Yes.
for me, being a Muslim, I don't understand the situation of alcoholism, how people get
Mm-hmm.
attached to it. But for me,
Mm-hmm.
when I see it as he just like came back from alcoholism, he made a whole career, a side career basically of like beating alcoholism, writing a
Yep.
book about how you can deal with it and how you can really um, just move on from this stage. I thought that was quite remarkable, really. And
Mm.
his daughter even said that that was probably his greatest achievement, the one that she was most proud of the most, that he helped so many people um, beat alcoholism and he himself beat alcoholism. Because a lot of footballers, after they finish football, in this day and age now, they'll always have side product projects like clothing lines or media duties or property businesses. Back
Mm-hmm.
in the 1980s, they didn't have any of that.
No.
It wasn't available. So the fact that he became a TV personality as well, I'm not going to know what TV show he did or anything, but
Yeah.
the fact
Saints and
that
Greaves.
that was it, Saints and Greavy. It
I'm
was
kind of old enough to remember that, but I'm not that old.
nah, nah, that's cool. That's okay. But no, even that, it just showed that there was life after football for
Mm-hmm.
footballers of that day and age, which was just as good, and it changed the way that football was televised in this country and apparently around the world as well. Because even Gary Lineker was saying that he was a great inspiration for him,
Yeah.
and it was something that was quite good as well. But
Mm-hmm.
um, realistically, MJ, how do you kind of see this legacy going? Because I know he's got 357 goals. There's the most goals in English football history. Do you reckon anyone can actually beat that in England? We've got Harry Kane currently, who's probably on there. Mo Salah, perhaps, if he stays for another 6, 7 years. But I
Mm.
think that could last for another 10, 15, maybe even 30 years, that record of 357 goals.
Yeah, I agree with you, Hamza. I can't see anyone breaking at the moment. I think Harry's only on 161, if I'm correct.
Mm,
He's around the 160 mark for Premier League goals, so he's got like almost double that. Don't get me wrong, Harry could. I could see potentially Harry playing for another 6 or 7 years, maybe to his 35, 36. I can easily see him dropping back, playing that Teddy Sheringham role, the number 10. He's been
mm.
doing it a lot recently, dropping off quite deep. Will he still get as many goals as he gets older? I don't know. But I think the closest shout is probably Harry Kane. I can't see anyone else, to be honest, that can get close to that record. But I think his legacy will, well, I hope his legacy continues. Because a lot of the time I've noticed that there's a bit of a bias towards players that didn't play in the Premier League era. So players that played in old Division One, they don't seem to get as much recognition
Definitely. I've seen
or
that as
respect.
well.
Yeah, so I hope he does. He deserves it. Listen, he deserves it. No one's broke that record, so he deserves every accolade that he gets. To be fair.